In a narrow shop between two forgetful alleys, an old clockmaker named Elias kept time for everyone who questioned it. His hands were dusted in brass shavings and his hair was silver like worn gears. Elias didn't measure success by applause or coin. He measured it in attempts, stubborn attempts. He built machines that hiccuped and sighed. One would chime too soon, spilling laughter into the wrong hour. Another would stall, its hands frozen like a paused breath. Each failure left Elias with a smaller, sharper truth tucked between his thumb and finger. He labeled these truths on scraps of paper and pinned them above his workbench. Balance matters. Listen to the hinge. Patience is a gear. They fluttered like tiny flags of progress, and each flutter comforted him like a friend knocking at the door. The town called him quixotic. Children pointed and invented fairy explanations. Maybe he was trying to trap midnight, or perhaps he wanted a clock that could sing. Elias smiled at their guesses and kept faith. He worked quietly, his heart steady, teaching himself to listen to brass and spring and sorrow. When a spring snapped, he didn't curse. He studied the break like a map of possibility. When a glass vase cracked, he smoothed its edges and learned how to cradle light without trapping it. On the 75th attempt, his hands trembled with hope and doubt. The bell tolled with a voice rougher than he intended, and he sat in the dusk holding the bell's echo as if it were a small, wounded bird. He pressed his thumb to a paper tag and wrote a new lesson. Beauty needs room to breathe. The rule was simple and tender. It made him laugh, exhausted and relieved, and he set to mend the next thing. Neighbors began to watch his ritual, seeing him return with boxes of failed clocks under his arm, as though each one were a letter he refused to send. Some nights he sat at the window watching the moon trace time across the roofs. Those were his secret revisions. When he wasn't inventing, he was remembering why he began. Not to build a perfect machine, but to practice noticing grace in the stubbornness of matter. On the 100th attempt, he wound a delicate, hopeful gear with the reverence of a prayer. The mechanism clicked. It faltered once, not like failure, but like a throat clearing before speech. Then the hands moved, imperceptibly, then certain. The chime rose, not loud and proud, but honest and warm. It carried the memory of every miss, every broken spring, every tiny scrap of wisdom pinned above the bench. Elias set his masterpiece in the shop window. People paused before a painting that had learned to forgive its mistakes. Children pressed palms to the glass, breathing fogged hearts into the light. The town felt the slow, steady truth of time stitched together from small recoveries, and someone whispered, as if naming a secret, he kept trying. Resilience isn't never falling. It's collecting small lessons from each fall and using them to try again. What tiny lesson did your last failure teach you? Drop one sentence in the comments. Your single truth might be the spark someone else needs to take their next attempt.